Stand and join me in a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, everyone. Where's Terry? Bobby's Terry today. Excuse me. Hi, Bobby, Terry. All right, can we have roll call, please?
Bonnie Edmeades.
Here.
Mrs. Fish.
Here.
Dr. Gutaccio.
Here.
Mrs. Gordon.
Here.
Mr. Gordon. Dr. Gursky.
Here.
Mr. Kirsch.
Here.
Mr. Reichard.
Here.
Mr. Huron.
Here. Thank you. For the record, we did have an executive session tonight. It started a little past about 6:10 and ended just a few minutes before 7. In that session, we had a discussion regarding our athletic personnel. We talked about real estate concerns and issues and agreements, as well as some safety and security assessments that are being scheduled for March of next year. Okay, our next order of business tonight is our meeting minutes from September 28th. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from September 28th, 2021?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll do. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, voice. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Okay, motion carries. Second order of business tonight is our individual administrative announcements. CSIU, Dr. Gutaccio, do you have something to share tonight?
We did not have any meetings since then. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting is the Finance Committee.
Yeah,
Pierce?
we had a meeting tonight at 4:30. Talked about a few things. We got our final EIT payment, which is earned income tax. So for the total 20 to 21 year, we're down roughly 2% over prior. Usually that's a 3 to 4% increase. So obviously a little bit of a hit there. We talked about our preliminary unaudited results for our 2020 to 2021 audit. Talked about an Act 1 timeline index, some concerns with food service because of shipment delays, and the PDE has sent out an alert regarding higher cost of food. Tax audit recommendations, spoke about a support staff pay compensation survey. Got a couple project updates. Some engineers have been through the building at the primary school. Have also met with Mr. Ryan regarding technology, and were they through the middle school too, or Liberty Valley? And Liberty Valley. And then got a little update on the Ironman Foundation, which is a community foundation that we're trying to get off the ground for some things for the district. Reviewed a preliminary extracurriculars and student activities stipend, and Bobby showed us her wonderful business office procedure manual.
Okay,
That's
thank
it.
you. Thank you for that. Anything on the athletic committee? Somebody from the athletic committee want to share an update or?
Sure.
Any highlights from the
Well, I
athletic
wasn't
committee?
at that.
Could Mr. Johns maybe share? Or do you want?
I can do it.
Yeah.
All right. From memory here, everyone. The old business had to do with our wrestling mat. We have ordered a new wrestling mat that'll be here in time for wrestling season. The gym floor at the high school will begin being redone next week, I believe. And it'll take a few weeks to do that. It'll be off limits for about 3 weeks, but it will be ready for our basketball season. And at the middle school on September 30th, they did a resurfacing of that one as well, so that is ready. We have indoor baseball cages that have been put up, and they're ready for use. We also talked about the stipend that the Finance Committee also talked about, We're looking at a tier model for our extracurricular activities to see, how we can do better equity across everything else. Mr. Johns, anything else? Spring coaches will be presented probably in November. Yes, homecoming's October 22nd for the game, 23rd for the dance. There is also a parade before the game, so please come out and join us.
Okay. Thank you. And then curriculum committee, Dr. Katachu?
We had our meeting on October 6th. I'd like to remind the community that all these committee meetings are open and everybody is invited. So on that day, we could discuss a few things, including career pathway update and how that can be useful and be utilized by students to enhance their education as well as prepare them for the future. We also discussed about curriculum updates. There are some textbooks and things that we are trying to update, and we took that discussion. And also teacher evaluation was also discussed. And we reviewed the progress of the social and emotional learning at the various levels in the different buildings. And also we had, there will be a presentation on October 26th when it comes to PSA Keystone data, which will be presented by Dr. Beckert.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, our next order of business tonight is our superintendent's report. I'll turn the floor over to Dr. Boyle.
Okay, enrollment-wise, we now have 2,841 students across the district, with 2,262 students attending in our buildings. And as you can see on there, their pre-K counts, Head Starts have 88. The primary building has 520, same as Liberty Valley. The middle school is at 502, and the high school is at 631. We currently have 125 students from Danville attending Columbia Montour area VOTEC. For cyber school, we have an enrollment of 52 students in outside cyber schools. You can see the breakdown by grade levels there. The same with the Ironman Cyber Academy. We now have 97 students in our local district academy. So that's a great improvement on that as well. The Danville High School, we have several things happening there. I did mention the homecoming is October 22nd for the game, 23rd for the prom, or the dance. Yeah, not the prom, the dance. The PSATs are October 26th, and we will be doing an asynchronous virtual day for students who will not be taking the test. The test takes almost 4 hours, so it doesn't work well within the schedule. So we're working that out as well. For FFA, the Northern Regional FFA Fall Leadership Conference is Friday, October 15th, and we have a group of students going with their advisors, Mrs. Smithwells and Mr. Schultz, to participate in that. The emergency drill, and this is for all district buildings, different times, but the emergency drill will be October 15th. We have to have that according to state law within the first 90 days of school, so that'll be October 15th. If your kids say something or whatever, you know what's happening, and you don't have to worry about things. We've got it under control. October 29th is senior night for the football band and cheerleaders. Tonight was senior night for cross country. And let me see, November 4th in the evening and November 5th during the day are the next parent-teacher conferences. For the middle school, and you'll see all of them I talk about, wiseforschool.com. You can go there to sign up, and at the middle school they are actually sending out a UPC that you can do on your phone to sign up for the building, but you have to pick the building you want so that each school, you can cover whichever school you choose to be participating in. The one picture there shows two students working with the Lego Club Challenge. They created an animal for the Lego Zoo, and their creation had to include the environment that the animal would live in. The middle is a child who is enjoying a beautiful breakfast that his class participated in lessons on food preparation, on measurement, those kind of things. And then they did a culminating activity of creating a breakfast that they got to enjoy. And the other group are students who went to the Bloomsburg Fair last week. They were there, and what they did is they took some figures from the previous fairs, made comparison as to what number of students were there previously, what numbers were there this past week. They also worked on reading a map, maneuvering through the actual fair, and they practiced ordering and paying for their food. I also want to congratulate the Danville Middle School cross-country team. They competed in the Lackawanna Invitational at McDade Park in Scranton. They ran a tough course against over 20 other schools. And a huge congratulations for the girls team who came in first place, and for the boys team who came in second place. An excellent season for our Danville Middle School cross-country. Next one's Liberty Valley. Liberty Valley is having a Rock Your School event on October, let me think, I don't have the date of that on here. And the teachers are all getting ready for that. They're doing special events for that during the week. The Fall Festival is to be October 28th, and they're trying to decide what the scarecrows will look like. What happens is that building is the groups do scarecrows, and then they line them up in front of the building near the road. So if you get a chance, go by and check it out. And at the primary school, we have Rock Your School Day there is October 21st. They will be having some virtual dance lessons for their Rock the School, and they'll also have Pelican Snowballs, which the Homeschool Association has set up for the students. There's a couple of students dressed up like a superhero there. They were doing a super job with virtual learning, so the teachers asked them to do a day of being a superhero, and then they all talked about which hero they were. Also, for some of the virtual learning, trying to keep the kids engaged, they decided that the kindergarten class, they would have a crazy hat, crazy hair day, and the students also participated in that, so that was pretty exciting as well. Our COVID update, you can see the numbers there. The ones in color are for our buildings and the positive cases. The ones in gray have to do with Montour County. So there has been a little bit of a decrease over the past few days as far as county numbers, but the numbers are still fairly significant across the area. One other item that I want to talk about is they're trying to establish a Meet the Candidate night.
Right.
Is Janet here?
Yeah, there's been some discussions on putting together a Meet the Candidate night for this upcoming election, but there's not enough information to put anything out there yet, but
Okay.
it's being discussed and some ideas being explored.
Okay, watch for further updates on that, please.
That it, I think? Okay, thank you. Okay, we have our first of our two public comment periods at this time. There's a second one at the end of the meeting. This first one is for agenda items only. If you care to make a public comment, the policy is 3 minutes, and to do so, please come forward and state your name and your address, and you're welcome to share public comment up to 3 minutes. So at this juncture, I open up to the floor. Anybody like to make a public comment at this time? And this is agenda items only at this time.
Tony Petrick. Anyway,
You
from
may want
Danville,
to point it
Pennsylvania.
towards your mouth.
Got it. Got it. Hey, just want to confirm that there's an open comment period at the end of the agenda.
There is,
Other
yes.
items? Okay.
Sure enough, yep.
Just want to confirm. Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. Anybody else? Public comment at this time? Okay. All right, next order of business is our consent agenda items. The board will take action to approve the consent agenda items, and those are numbers 8.1, 12.1, 12.2, 13.1 through 13.7.
Chris, I'd like to make a motion to remove 13.2 from the consent agenda.
Okay. All right. With That said, the board will take action to make a consent agenda items for all but 13.2.
Can I also make a motion
You
to
sure can.
remove 13.3 from consent?
Absolutely.
only looking at the one.
Anybody else? Okay, for the record, let me just clarify for the record. The board will take action now to approve the consent agenda items 8.1, 12.1, 12.2, 13.1, 13.4, 13.5, 13.6, and 13.7.
I think the motion was to remove those two items, so we have to vote on that.
Oh, well, okay. So we-
It would just be you pulling those items from the consent agenda so that they
Okay.
would be voted on separately.
Let's take 3 then. I'm sorry about that. So the board will take action to remove items 13.2 and 13.3
From the consent agenda.
from the consent agenda items.
I motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. You do- Yep, voice or roll call.
We can do voice.
Voice? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Finance, no report, report only included.
And now we have to vote.
We have to vote on the
Now you gotta
consent
do the
agenda
consent
items.
with those not in there.
Oh, jeez, I gotta start over tonight. Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 8.1, 12.1, 12.2, 13.1, 13.4 through 13.7?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Kirsch.
second.
Thank you, Dr. Katachu. And that's a roll call, please.
Mrs. Edmeades? Mrs. Fish?
Yes.
Dr. Getachew?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Dr. Gursky?
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch?
Yes.
Mr. Reichard?
Yes.
Mr. Huron?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Finance, report only tonight. Okay, then we're on to 13.2, I believe, right? We pulled that out?
11.3.
Boy, oh,
Bills for
yeah.
payment.
Okay, board will take action to approve the bills for payment for September 10th, 2021 through October 8th, 2021 as presented. Do I have a motion to approve item 11.3?
I
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. That's a roll call too, please.
Mrs. Fish?
Yes.
Dr. Getachew?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Dr. Gursky?
Abstain.
Mr. Kirsch?
Yes.
Mr. Reichard?
Abstain.
Mr. Huron?
Yes. Motion carries.
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Edmeades. Mr. Huron?
Yes.
Thank you.
Getting a lot of sorts tonight. It's my fault. Okay. Item 11.4. Board will take action to approve Berkheimer One Source to print and mail our Act 1 applications at a fee of $0.3774 per envelope. Do I have a motion to approve item 11.4? Thank you, Mrs. Edmeades.
Second.
Mr. Reichert. That's also a roll call, please.
Dr. Getachew?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Dr. Gursky?
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch?
Yes.
Mr. Reichard?
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades?
Yes.
Mrs. Fish?
Yes.
Mr. Huron?
Yes, thank you. Okay, motion carries. 11.5, consulting services of Conrad Siegel Actuaries. The board will take action to approve the proposed consulting services of Conrad Siegel Actuaries for for the 2021 ACA Employer Report at a cost of $6,000. Additional fees, if we use them for other areas beyond the scope of services, would be as follows. Consulting actuary at $340 per hour, benefit consultant at $290 per hour, associate actuary at $255 per hour, and actuary benefit analysis at a rate of $185 to $220 per hour. Do I have a motion to approve 11.5 tonight?
I'll make that motion.
Bobby, is this
Yes,
is
okay.
the same one we've used in the past, right?
That's correct, and it's the same amount. The base rate is the same
Okay.
amount as the previous year.
I will second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Gordon. Thank you, Mr. Kirsch. And that's also a roll call, please.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Getachew,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Item 12.3, new hire. The board will take action to approve the employment of Savannah Cole as a music teacher at Danville Primary School at a yearly salary of $55,990. It's a step 5 with the effective date pending due to current employment. Do I have a motion to approve item 12.3? Thank you, Mrs. Edmeades. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Dr. Katachi, thank you. It's also a roll call, please.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Getachew,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes, motion carries. Then,
All right, Mrs. Willoughby, would you like to introduce Savannah to the group, please?
So this is Savannah, and she is going to be a wonderful addition to the Danville Primary School. We are very excited, so I'll let Savannah say some things about herself.
Welcome,
welcome.
Savannah.
thank you. Awesome. Okay, item that we pulled from the consent items, we're on to item 13.2, which is the second reading of policy 141.1. And the board will take action to approve the second reading. We're
Move to table 13.2 and
table-
13.3.
going to table those. Okay.
Somebody's got to make that
Yeah.
motion, then.
I'll make the motion to table 13.2 and 13.3 for today's meeting.
I'll second.
Okay.
Mr. Reichard,
Yes.
Mrs. Edmeades,
Yes.
Mrs. Fish,
Yes.
Dr. Getachew,
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon,
Yes.
Dr. Gursky,
Yes.
Mr. Kirsch,
Yes.
Mr. Huron.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Then we're on to up to 13.7. Okay, nothing under transportation. Okay, board comments and concerns for next meeting agendas. Anybody have a board comment or concern? No? Okay. Okay. All right, then we'll move on to item 16 tonight, which is our second public comment period. It's open to the public for up to 3 minutes, and if you care to make a public comment, please step forward and state your name and your address, and you'll have up to 3 minutes to share your public comment. So I open up the floor to anybody interested to make a public comment. Hold it down if you'd like, it's more comfortable.
And you don't have to give your address because I'm assuming you're a student. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a senior.
Okay.
Okay.
So just your name.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Coyla Bartholomew. I am a senior here at Danville High School. I begin my short 3-minute discussion with a question for you all. How many of you here have children? Have you ever had your kids run up to you, one saying, she or he said I was stupid, and the other saying, I never said that? What do you do in that position? Take one's word over the others without any evidence of the actual confrontation? I don't know about you, but as I grew up and my sisters and I would get in little quarrels, my mom and dad would say to us, well, one of you is telling the truth, and although it isn't nice to say that, we don't know what really happened. Let's let it go, say sorry, give each other a hug, and move on. I ask that question to you all because personally, that is what this whole issue reminds me of, a time when I was an 8-year-old and my 5-year-old sisters were constantly causing trouble. I have been extremely blessed to have been born into a family with such strong-willed parents, and although both of them are amazing, I am not here to talk about my dad, because a great injustice has not been thrown onto him. I'm here to discuss my mom. From the time I was born to now, she's always been my biggest supporter. She is my true idol. The amount of time, effort, and love she puts into everything is astounding. She has taught me to put my full commitment and care into everything I do, whether it is a school project, performing music at a special occasion, or my college applications. I could go on and on about how great of a mother she is, but she hasn't been stripped of her mother rights. She's been stripped of her coaching rights. Going into the previous track season of 2021, I was honestly worried about having my mom as my coach. I've never been in this position before, but I can say wholeheartedly that it was my favorite track season by far. The workouts she created and how normally we would look at them as 4 800s to fun games that we would receive treats after. Every meet she had a baked good with an inspirational note on it. For our first track meet, she hand-wrote everyone a special card on how they can personally have a great meet. All of these little gestures made my season. They gave me the courage to go out, experiment, give it my all, and qualify for the state meet, which I attended with Grace Petrick and Bella Johns. Now I'm sure I'm close to my 3-minute ending, and it's so difficult to portray all of my feelings on this subject that has brought so many strong and difficult feelings to my family these past 2 weeks. As I end this segment of your night, I would like to say one last thing. The subject that I have been accused of, seeing these confidential documents, is a made-up fantasy. As my mom read those comments, you could see the change in her posture, her face, her body language. It's almost as if she had failed a major test that she had been studying for. As I saw my mom like that, I asked her what was wrong. I've never seen her like this. She told me there was a survey done, and the comments that were said were hurtful to her. If someone asked me if my mom is okay, do I not have the right to answer truthfully and say no? Do I not have the right to use the First Amendment of the Constitution and speak freely? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening. I am Hannah Bartholomew, a sophomore of Danville Area School District. Do you know how much work, time, and effort must be put into the job as a head coach? Although I'm not a coach, I understand it completely. My mom always used her extra time to go the extra mile when it came to supporting our team. Whether it was having a fun lift, post-practice with warm scones waiting for us, or playing music during our repeats on the track. The focus of the entire season was to always do our best. Every person had different dreams and goals of what to accomplish. Not every girl is the same. Everyone has a different body, different mentality, and different physical capability. It's very easy as a teenage girl to get caught up in these little details when you're in the starting line. I say this with firsthand experience. My mom has always wanted every girl to go to their practice happy and ready to work so they could reach their full potential. After warm-up and stretching, my mom would say, "Be your best and make today worth it." This is the most important thing for a girl to hear. For myself, it makes me feel powerful and strong, like I can achieve anything. All of us girls on the team were encouraged to try something new and to step out of their comfort zone. My mom always began each meet day with a fun pre-meet gift like maracas, blow pops, and little individual thoughts or quotes to get girls' spirits high. Every part of the season was about trying your best and to be both physically and mentally tough. My mom was hired for the position because she was the best candidate to handle this job. Only it wasn't a job to her. It was something fun and exciting to look forward to each day. Girls in their teen years are extremely difficult. Statistics show that every 1 in 5 girls suffer from at least one mental health disorder. My mom has either been coaching or teaching them for almost 25 years. She has the most experience and knows best. If anyone argues, try it yourself. You won't be able to take the challenge. I have a voice, I will be heard, and I will not take no for an answer. I get this trait from my mom, who is always fighting for what is right and wrong. This takes place in my competitiveness. I encourage others as well as they encourage me to strive for my best. Determination is always shown by my mom and coach, which also represents the dedication she had toward every girl, so they would put their maximum effort into each day. Although females are tended to be looked down upon, often belittled, my mom has never and will never stop her from doing what she believes is right. Throughout the whole season, she reminded us of that we can be fierce and go give it our all and have fun. Having my mom as a coach was a great experience that I hope I can have for the rest of my high school career. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments tonight?
Brian Lieberman, 138 North Overlook Drive, Danville. School Board, thank you for allowing this open comment section. I too would like to just share with you my perspective of a few things. First and foremost, the tradition of Danville's cross country. I understand it to be a 50-year program, actually probably 51 or 52 years. And I am a local person. I went to Shikellamy High School. I ran cross country for Shikellamy High School, ran track and field. And that sport has taught me many great lessons in life. And what was provided in that sport was, one, discipline, two, having to push yourself beyond where you think you can humanly push yourself. As a teenager, some of it wasn't fun. The success certainly was fun. The workouts and the challenge were not fun. As an adult and going through, that time from high school till now, I have certainly been faced with many challenges, personally and professionally. And that sport has provided me the preparedness for success with that. And I have a lot to thank for my coaches for providing me that guidance. I've certainly got off track in my life, and I've got back on track, and in doing so, it has always been exercise, primarily running for me. I've taken on other forms of exercise since then. What I think about in this decision to make a change with the cross-country coach, I know I'm not privy to the information that the school board would be privy to, and so I cannot comment on that. But I do know Coach Bartholomew. I have been with the program as a parent of a student athlete. My son's a junior for the last 4 years, and this is his 5th year of experience, and I've seen firsthand Coach Bartholomew be around for kids, whether it was in official capacity or unofficial capacity. And I know that she's a longstanding member of the running community and is passionate about it. And I would ask you to just think about not only this decision, but the future of the program. Coach Brandt is at the end of his career, and I wish him well to coach for however long he's able to coach. But in thinking about the future of the program, I think someone like Coach Bartholomew brings people interested in the sport when you don't know whether you should be interested in that sport or not. And that is one aspect that will make folks much more well-rounded in their life and for the success of our community and what you can say for your students who have graduated here. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
I'm going to have a seat if you don't mind.
And you'll hit the, hold the push button.
I think the red on that one is on.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No,
Top-
don't push it.
Okay, sorry.
Now it's
about
off.
Now it's on.
It's the one
Red
that-
needs to go on
It's
that
the
one.
only one that doesn't go green.
Yep, it's on.
Okay, we're good. You don't mind if I take my mask off?
No.
Okay. Tony Petrick, Danville, Pennsylvania. I just want to talk a little bit about due process. You know, due process is a way to resolve legal matters according to established rules, principles, requires that individuals be treated fairly. It's a legal principle, but it also should apply to organizational decisions. And, you know, relative to this dispute, I have a lot of concerns about due process, recognizing that I'm privy to one side of the story. I certainly know and have a lot of respect for all the principals involved, including this board, and I totally believe everybody's trying to work with the best intentions possible on this. But the first question that I ask, and I don't expect an answer tonight, but is the document that was sent, was the document sent actually a document that was de-identified? Because from all the information I have, it was not, and that's easily verifiable. I have some personal experience with the district's ability to do digital forensics. They're quite good at it. And this should be an easy question to resolve. It should be an open and shut question. And certainly to my knowledge, that wasn't addressed at the last meeting when 12.6 was placed on the agenda. The second issue is this allegation that the coach violated confidentiality. But the supervisor repeatedly denies that the coach had access to confidential information. Again, this is a readily resolvable question, and it's very difficult, even with someone from one side, or someone who only has one side of the story, to understand this conundrum. I mean, it can't really be both ways. And if a de-identified document was provided, and we take confidentiality seriously, then that has to be addressed. And it is not the fault of the coach that de-identified information was given. Alternatively, are we saying that these girls hacked into this information? And if we do, digital forensics will show it. It's quite easy to resolve, and I don't really understand why it hasn't been. You know, a letter that the coach received on October 4th, 2021, you know, alleged the family was privy to confidential information, the family divulged confidential information. It alleges that the family manipulated a document. Again, either it's verifiable. The first two items are utter hearsay. They're not evidence. I'm not aware that the daughters were ever interviewed. I'm not aware that the principals were ever interviewed. And there are conflicts of interest all around by all parties. It's the nature of a small community. We have conflicts of interest. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, these opinions were not unique. My daughter captained that team, and my daughter knew this information, and she never saw any document. She could have attributed comments to the individuals on that team quite easily. The opinions were readily shared. You know, this just seems to be something that's gotten out of hand. I don't think there's anyone here who could say that they have not heard or shared information in an emotional moment with their family. I don't know why we would have cast this stone in the first place, but I think we have an opportunity to clean up this mess and undo it, and I would ask that the board attempt to do that, really, for the whole community. So thanks.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Sarah Marks, 72 Stonefield Lane. To the same issue, I don't know any of the details of sort of the removal of the cross-country coach, but I do have a daughter who's currently one of the members of the team, and I just sort of think that knowing Mrs. Bartholomew as a teacher and as a coach and a club leader and a activities leader, I have watched her sort of behaviors with my students or with my children and also with students. And she has been sort of the consummate professional. And I also think that in a sport such as track and cross country, that a strong female leader is really important. And so while the details they're personal, right? This is personal, and we've been sort of assured that it wasn't any emotional or physical or sort of a child endangerment issue, then it becomes complicated. And when you have complicated issues, I plead with the board to think about intent and impact, because I think the intent is almost always good. This is a group that it has our children's interest at heart. But the impact can sometimes not always be the same. And so the impact of abrupt removal of a leader within a team with no explanation to a group of middle school children and no information that was shared with parents, and also sort of this veiled, complicated, sort of personal sort of air around the issue creates sort of a scandal of sorts. And so I don't think that was the impact of the board. And I also think that there may have been some missed opportunities to really look at Mrs. Bartholomew's record, at Mrs. Bartholomew's leadership, at her sort of behaviors, and potentially opportunities for improvement planning and for sort of remediation, and, you know, if there is removal, to do it in a more respectful and dignified way.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
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 I make a motion.
Oh. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.